I'm Dr. Benjamin Bisger, and this is a lesson on the three-strike rule. If you've ever suffered severe pain and didn't know what you did to deserve it, this rule's for you to learn from. It's really more of a story than a rule, and that is, one day, many years ago, when I was a tender age of 30, I went to the office on a Monday, worked a long day, but nothing out of the ordinary, felt nothing but a little tension in my back, absolutely no pain, got home, took my shoe off, and bam! Instant, severe pain, crippled, lying on the floor. Well, if you ever heard of the straw that broke the camel's back, then you must have seen mine. And instead of cursing or wallowing in misery, I started performing inventory. Where do those other straws come from, and how'd they get there? Here's all I could think of. Start with the day before. That was a Monday, I recall, so the day before Sunday, I remember building a pet fence to protect my lovely ferns from my wild dog. And it was a pretty easy job, I thought. But of course, I bought the economy roll of mesh fencing, which weighed about, well, I don't know, 60 pounds at least, and it was pretty awkward, and I used about 5% of it. Naturally, that's how I shop. Plus, driving some posts in, nothing that caused any pain. I had no pain whatsoever. Well, the day before, Saturday now, I was moving some heavy things in the garage. My wife was looking for something that was probably important to her, and the result was I was moving very large totes and boxes around for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's it. But I was not following toes and nose rule, or the squat not bend rule, or any similar proper body mechanic rule. I remember being a little sloppy about it. But guess what? I had absolutely no pain. Then, the day before that, I was going to play some music with my friend. So I had to load up my amplifier and some other heavy equipment into the back of my little Ford Focus, and then unload that down his basement, which has about a 5'10" clearance, and I'm almost 6'2". Okay, so loading really heavy equipment into the back of my small car, unloading it, and then moving it down into his little basement. And by the way, I had to bring it all back out by the end. And guess what? Do you think I had any pain at all? No pain at all. So, what do you think? Do you think taking off my shoe broke my back? Of course not. It was all of those things. The shoe was really that last straw. I call it the three-strike rule because, well, I hope you believe this is a true story, because it is. And indeed, it was 1, 2, 3 strikes. If I had not done all three of those things, or if I had taken proper precautions to do them all very carefully, and or I had stretched before, during, and after, I probably would have made it out completely fine, scot-free. But I did not. Why not? Because at no point did I ever expect those things were going to hurt me. I had no warning sign. At 30 years old, as a specialist as I am today in the field of musculoskeletal medicine, physical medicine, pain, and yet I had no reason to think I was hurting myself. So if I, and allegedly an expert in pain and physical medicine, did not know I was hurting myself, how could you, if indeed you are a lay person watching this video, how could you know otherwise? So it is exceedingly common that new patients or patients with new injuries or exacerbations or flares of the pain, it is exceedingly common that someone who comes to me with acute pain does not know why he or she is suffering that pain. I ask them, what did you do? Nothing. Why are you hurting? I don't know. It is a precious minority that say to me, this is what I did. And in those cases, it's usually more obvious, like, oh, I fell off a ladder and that's why my back hurts. Well, okay, we can work with that. However, the world would be a better place if all of us could learn something from what I suffered back at age 30, from which I coined the three-strike rule. If you ever suffer pain that you don't feel you deserve, stop and ask yourself, what are the 3 most unusual or strenuous things I have done, not just in the last 3 days, even in the last 3 weeks? Yes, indeed. I had a woman come to me recently with the worst back pain of her life, and she had tripped over her dog. Great story. That's a good reason for back pain. But we're talking about the most severe back pain in her life from tripping over a dog. You might imagine that that was a straw that broke the camel's back. Where are the other straws? And indeed, it wasn't till goodness, maybe 20 minutes in the story, and after I asked 20 questions, then it came out that indeed she had cleared many acres of woodland, hauling lumber by herself, fell in the muck and had to pull everything through. Did you have any pain then? Well, not too bad. And then other things had set her up until finally that final straw snapped her back. So indeed, if you go to your doctor with a flare-up of pain, and you don't know what you did, boy, how is he or she going to find this answer? I've done this for years and I'm still baffled how many times I find a surprising answer for where the pain really came from. And it often comes very late into the counter after asking many, many times. The world would be a better place if people in pain stopped and asked themselves, how did I get here? And then made choices that, I don't know, were rational in response to the information that they concluded upon. So, for example, after moving that heavy equipment, moving the things in the garage and building that pet fence, I have never done those same things that way ever again. Yes, there have been the occasion where I've bent the wrong way or underestimated how heavy something was, but I immediately stopped, reapproached the situation, and as soon as I was done, performed a lot of stretches to make up for the mistake I had made. Case in point, 2 years ago, I was trying to dock a 3-person kayak. If you've never seen a 3-person kayak, it weighs about 1 billion pounds. And of course, you're the only adult around when you are trying to load or unload it. At least those are the only 3-person kayaks I've ever experienced. So here's me, not exactly the figure of Herculean strength. Feel free to contradict me. And I'm lifting, moving, turning this thing by myself. And my lovely daughter, 7 years old at the time, is just off to my side. I begin to lose control of this kayak as I'm trying to turn it. It begins to fall rapidly in her direction. So, pop quiz as a parent, do you A, let the billion-pound kayak crush your daughter, or B, catch it no matter what it takes? Well, I chose B. I hope you did the same. If not, let's just assume you chose B. Then I found myself in a bent, twisted position, deeply violating my own biomechanical rules that I teach daily. But nevertheless, I didn't plan on this situation. I was trying to approach it carefully and lost control. As I lowered down the kayak and set it upon the dock, I went to stand up and my back was very weak. It was not quite like it was locked into place, but it wasn't like a joint that felt like it was out of place and it couldn't move. But it felt muscular, like exceedingly stiff, almost like I was in a cramp or something like that. Best way I could describe it, I'd never felt that before. I slowly came up. Was, by the way, zero pain. Even that cramping feeling was not a painful feeling. It was just I couldn't do it feeling. The strength wasn't there. Got home, and what do you think I did? I laid on the hard, flat floor and performed 25 minutes of my back stretches. All the same ones that I teach my patients. 25 minutes of them. I had no pain yet. But I had learned my lesson from age 30, from the story being told here. And right before bed, I did another 20 minutes of my own back stretches. Why would a man do 45 minutes of stretching with no pain? Well, that morning, the following morning, I experienced something I'd never experienced before. I woke up, my back felt fantastic, but I could actually feel a bruise in the left lower part of my back where I had felt the weakness. A bruise, without even me touching, just as moving, I didn't even feel sore. I felt so loose and free. But it was like when I bent, I could feel almost like I was touching on a bruise. What do you think that meant? It meant I pulled that muscle. That bruise was microscopic tearing of my muscle and tendon. But I had fully relieved it, and actually my back felt fantastic. I don't just say my back felt normal. No, my back felt fantastic. So that's what I'm trying to teach you. Even if I make a mistake, even if you do something wrong or end up in a position you didn't expect, or bit off more than you could chew, it's not too late. You can still make up for that. But all the wiser would be, as I try to do, don't put yourself in that position in the first place. It's human to err, as they say, but learn from it. Learn from it from what I teach you, or your other doctors, or your physical therapists, or any source. Learn wisdom of your body so you don't make those mistakes again. I don't want to live in a world where we keep making the same pain mistakes and hurting ourselves and making things worse and becoming burdens. I don't want to be a burden for somebody else. You don't want to be a burden for somebody else. If we care for our bodies, we won't be. At least to the greatest of our power, we will know that we have preserved our strength and our endurance and not been a burden to anyone. That we've learned to understand our pain and prevented it so we never make the same mistake, we hope, twice. I'm Dr. Benjamin Visger, and I hope I never have to coin the 4-strike rule.